Hello again. In the previous module, we discussed what sexual harassment is and what sexual harassment is not. It is not eve teasing. One thing which we can say for sure is a safe workplace is every woman's right. No, it is every woman's legal right. So in the present module, coming from this argument, we will discuss about the number of cases which have been reported in the past years, and using those numbers, we will see the need and the importance to talk about workplace sexual harassment. The Constitution of India and the UN Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, which has been ratified by India, calls for equality. Equality in terms of human rights and fundamental freedoms in political, economic, social, cultural and civil spheres. It basically underlines that any kind of discrimination or any kind of attack on women's dignity is in direct violation with the principle of equality of rights. Also, if we look at the Constitution of India, so part 3 of Constitution of India, which is about fundamental rights, in this part, Article 19 clause 1G talks about the freedom of all the individuals to practice any occupation or to carry out any trade or business. Now, having such kind of guarantee, and despite this guarantee, experiencing workplace sexual harassment not only erodes equality, but it also is a risk on the dignity of the women and as well as their physical and psychological well-being. To delve deeper, let's look at the figures representing the cases of sexual harassment, because sometimes numbers can speak louder than words. Now, according to this data published by Ministry of Women and Child Development, the number of cases of sexual harassment in the workplace registered in India jumped 54% from 371 cases in 2014 to 570 cases in 2017. According to the ministry, 533 cases have already been reported in the first 7 months of 2018, nearly as many as for all of the 2017. Similarly, Pink Ladder, a career enhancement ecosystem for women professionals, they have released their findings of reach and impact of sexual harassment policies in India through its International Alliance for Gender Studies. This research was carried out with 200 women from 80 organizations across Bangalore, Mumbai, Chennai and New Delhi. More than half of the respondents surveyed responded that they would not, or they were not sure about continuing to work in the same place where the incident of sexual harassment occurred. In another story, the National Crime Records Bureau data tells us a total number of 57, 119 and 142 cases were registered during the years 2014, 2015 and 2016 respectively, under the category of insult to the modesty of women at office premises. Having these experiences sure is a deterrent to women's development. The impact of sexual harassment at workplace is thus far-reaching. Workplace sexual harassment leads to poor productivity and a negative impact on lives and livelihoods. To further compound the matter, deep-rooted socio-cultural behavioral patterns, which create a gender hierarchy, tend to place responsibility on the victim, thereby increasing inequality in the workplace and in society at large. It also creates a hostile and insecure work environment, discourages women's participation in the workforce, and thus creates a barrier to inclusive growth. The negative impacts do not stop at an injury to one individual or one worker. It has a ripple and multiplier effect on the rest of the workers in the organization. It impacts the workplace and brings negative consequences such as compromised teamwork, economic loss, impaired productivity, and hindered development. For the society at large, sexual harassment impedes the achievement of equality between men and women because it condones sex discrimination and sexual violence, and it has detrimental effects on the development of country as a whole and well-being of people. Therefore, preventing and addressing sexual harassment is in the interest not only of the workplace but also of society. Though sexual harassment at the workplace has assumed serious proportions, women do not report the matter. They do not report it to the concerned authorities in most of the cases. In the absence of a mechanism to redress cases of sexual harassment, individuals suffering from sexual harassment are at a loss because they are not sure with whom they can go and speak about their experience. Not having a mechanism in place also points to the fact that the organization does not recognize or give priority to these issues, which leads to implicitly condone such discrimination and violence. It is now coming to the fore that in the absence of having formal structures for addressing the issues of sexual harassment, women often hold back from sharing incidents about their harassment due to many reasons. Embarrassment and humiliation about the incident, fear that the matter will be trivialized and disregarded. If you remember from module 1, we have the habit of understanding sexual harassment as eve teasing and thus instilling the fear that the incident or the experience which a particular woman has faced is nothing but routine. Also, a sense of insecurity that they will not be believed, as very often there is no proof of the incident. Hesitation that the institution will not take any action and the perpetrator will be allowed to go free. There is also fear of being asked to leave or to take a transfer, even if the harasser is found guilty. A fear of negative repercussions and retaliation from the harasser or even the principal employer is a reason why many women don't speak up about their experience of workplace sexual harassment. Apart from this, dread of becoming a subject of gossip and further humiliation, a fear of being blamed for either inviting it or even for raising the issue of addressal, a sense of complying with social norms where women are taught to keep silent and to overlook bad behavior. So in short, women fear being made victims twice. First, by raising their voices about sexual harassment and basically by complaining, and secondly, when they are being victimized because they have complained about their incident. It is high time that employers recognize that sexual harassment in the workplace takes away from the worker their right to live and work with dignity. Employers need to ensure that a mechanism is in place to give clear direction about whom to approach and when sexual harassment occurs. The procedures that will be adopted and the length of the time for investigation should be clearly mentioned. Sexual harassment is not a joke. It is a reality which many women on daily basis face in their workplaces, and they try to overlook or be silent about it for the reasons we have discussed in this module. It is high time that we make every possible effort to make a friendly and gender inclusive environment. Apart from having redressal mechanisms in our workplaces, which is a must, we also can have certain individualized efforts to make a gender inclusive environment. We can start off by introspecting or reviewing the hidden sexism in our daily languages and humor, which we actually use to create a friendly environment in our workplace.